When we look at the ancient beauty traditions of Asia and Ayurveda, the first lesson they teach us is that beauty is never just skin deep. In fact, in these cultures, the skin was not the starting point at all. It was the outcome. The glow of the face, the shine of the hair, the smoothness of the skin, these were seen as reflections of something much deeper balance within. This idea may sound poetic, but it is also profoundly practical. Think about it. When your digestion is off, your skin often reacts with breakouts. When you are stressed, your face looks tired, drawn, and older than it should. When you are content, rested and healthy, you radiate a kind of light that no cosmetic can replicate. The ancients understood this without ever needing laboratory studies. They watched nature, they listened to the rhythms of the body, and they came to a simple truth. Outer radiance is the mirror of inner harmony. In Ayurveda, the principle of doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, captures this perfectly. Each represents a mind, body constitution, and when these are in balance, health and beauty flourish. Imbalance, however, shows up quickly, often on the skin. Similarly, in East Asian philosophy, the concept of Kiev or life energy emphasizes that blockages inside the body eventually reveal themselves outwardly. These ancient systems remind us that the body is always talking to us. Beauty problems are not random. They are messages, signals pointing to deeper needs. And yet, in our modern world, we often make the mistake of ignoring those messages. A breakout is seen as something to cover up with makeup. Dark circles are blamed on genetics alone. Dullness is treated with a highlighter instead of hydration. We approach the skin like it's a wall to paint rather than a garden to nourish. The ancients would tell us that this is backward. They would tell us to look beneath the surface, to ask, what is my skin trying to say about my inner life? Psychologically, this invites us to rethink what we value. Too often, beauty becomes a performance, something designed to impress others. But ancient traditions teach a different philosophy, beauty as alignment. When your body is in harmony, when your thoughts are steady, when your spirit is at peace, beauty naturally radiates. It is not performed, it is revealed, and the people around you sense it, even if they cannot explain it. This is where philosophy meets practicality. If you want clear skin, don't just reach for another product. Ask yourself about your sleep. If you want brightness in your complexion, ask yourself about your diet, your hydration, and even your emotional state. If you want resilience against aging, consider how much stress you carry and how little time you allow your body to rest. These are not superficial questions. They are deep and they require honesty. But the rewards are profound because they allow you to reclaim your beauty as something within your control, something cultivated rather than purchased. Science today confirms what the ancients already knew. Chronic stress raises cortisol levels, which accelerates skin aging. Poor nutrition starves the skin of essential antioxidants and healthy fats, weakening its barrier. Sleep deprivation slows collagen repair and dulls the skin's natural glow. Each of these findings echoes what Ayurveda and Asian medicine taught for centuries. If the inside is not cared for, the outside will inevitably reflect that neglect. What is remarkable is how these traditions never separated beauty from health or health from spirit. They treated them as one continuum. Meditation was as much a beauty ritual as an act of spiritual practice because calming the mind reduces inflammation in the body. Herbal teas were not simply medicine, they were nourishment for clarity, digestion, and glow. Oil massage was not only for relaxation, it was a way of moving stagnant energy, strengthening the skin barrier, and cultivating self-love. Every act had layers of purpose, and beauty was the natural byproduct of living in alignment with these rhythms. And here is where the lesson becomes philosophical again. The pursuit of beauty today often creates anxiety. We compare ourselves, we chase trends, we feel not enough. But the ancient view was rooted in gratitude. Your body was seen as sacred. Your skin, your hair, your eyes, they were gifts, not burdens to correct. Caring for them was a form of reverence. Imagine how differently we would all feel if we approached beauty in that way, not as an endless chase, but as a quiet honoring of what we've been given. So as you listen to this and reflect, I want you to carry this truth with you. Beauty is not something you create on the surface. It is something you cultivate from within. The creams and serums you use may enhance, but the real foundation is balance. Balance in your body, your mind, and your spirit. That is the wisdom the ancients left us, and it is a wisdom more urgent than ever in a world of shortcuts and quick fixes. Because in the end, the glow that lasts is not the glow you buy. It is the glow you build by living in harmony with yourself. When we look deeper into the beauty traditions of Asia and Ayurveda, one truth becomes clear: nature was always the first pharmacy. Before there were laboratories, before there were cosmetic aisles filled with brightly packaged promises, people turned to plants, roots, minerals, and oils, and they didn't turn to them blindly. They observed, experimented, and passed down knowledge for centuries. What we sometimes dismiss today as folk remedies were in fact time-tested solutions rooted in careful observation of how the body responds to the gifts of nature. Take turmeric, for example. In Ayurveda, it has been treasured for thousands of years, not just as a spice, but as a healer. It fights inflammation, it brightens the skin, and it protects against premature aging. Or look at neem, known as the village pharmacy in India, valued for its antibacterial and cleansing properties. In East Asia, rice water was a simple, accessible beauty tonic used by women for luminous skin and strong hair. Green tea, so deeply woven into Japanese culture, is now scientifically confirmed to be packed with antioxidants that protect the skin from free radicals. These ingredients were never about covering flaws. They were about strengthening the body's own ability to repair, renew, and glow. And that distinction is crucial. Modern beauty often focuses on masking or temporarily correcting problems. Conceal a blemish, smooth a wrinkle, hydrate a patch of dryness. But the ancient approach asked, why is the blemish there? Why is the skin aging prematurely? Why is there dryness in the first place? The herbs and natural remedies they used worked with the body rather than against it. They encouraged balance, they promoted healing, and they aligned with the body's natural intelligence. Philosophically, this reveals a profound difference in mindset. Our modern culture often treats the body as something to be managed, controlled, or even fought with. Ancient traditions, however, viewed the body as an ally. Plants were not seen as miracle fixes, but as partners, reminding the body of its own capacity to restore balance. It's a humbler, wiser way of approaching beauty, one that respects nature and respects ourselves. There's also something deeply psychological about turning to herbs and natural remedies. When you take the time to brew a cup of green tea, to massage your face with coconut or sesame oil, or to apply a turmeric mask, you are slowing down. You're entering into a ritual that connects you not only with your own body, but also with generations of women and men who have done the same. It is not just skincare. It is an act of belonging, a reminder that you are part of an unbroken chain of wisdom that stretches back thousands of years. And that sense of connection creates calm, which in itself is medicine for the skin. Science now validates much of what the ancients knew instinctively. We know that antioxidants from herbs protect against oxidative stress, that plant-based oils can reinforce the skin barrier, that certain botanicals reduce inflammation at the cellular level. What we are discovering through research is often just a rediscovery of truths that were never lost, only overshadowed by the modern obsession with speed and novelty. The irony is that in our rush to find the next new breakthrough, we sometimes overlook the fact that the answers have been growing quietly in our gardens for centuries. And let's not ignore the sustainability of these traditions. Ancient beauty practices were never separate from the earth. They were grounded in respect for the natural world, in seasonal rhythms, in the understanding that we are part of a larger ecosystem. Contrast that with today, where so much of the beauty industry creates waste, pollution, and overconsumption. To return to herbs and natural remedies is also to return to a more respectful relationship with the planet. When you choose ingredients that are simple, natural, and renewable, you're caring not only for your skin, but for the world that sustains it. But here's the challenge: using herbs and natural remedies requires patience. A turmeric mask doesn't transform you overnight. Drinking green tea daily won't erase a wrinkle in a week. These practices work in harmony with the body's natural pace, and that demands trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the wisdom of tradition, trust in the slow unfolding of results. That patience is almost a spiritual exercise in itself. It reminds us that beauty is not a quick fix, but a lifelong dialogue between the body, the mind, and nature. So as you reflect on these ancient secrets, I invite you to consider a shift in mindset. Instead of asking, what product can fix my skin today? Ask, what practice can support my skin's health for years to come? Instead of chasing what is new, explore what has endured. Because what endures has already proven its worth. And here is the thought I want to leave you with. Herbs and natural remedies are not relics of the past. They are timeless guides, reminding us that true beauty is never manufactured. It is cultivated. If you honor nature, if you partner with it, your skin will not only look different, it will feel different. Because in the end, beauty that comes from nature is not just seen, it is lived. If there is one aspect of ancient beauty traditions that often gets overlooked, it is the role of ritual. In modern life, beauty routines are usually rushed. A quick wash, a dab of moisturizer, maybe some makeup before rushing out the door. Skincare has become another item on the checklist, something to get through rather than something to be present with. But in the wisdom of Asia and Ayurveda, beauty was never treated as a task, it was a ritual, and that difference changes everything. Imagine the active oil massage in Ayurveda, known as abhyanga. This was not just about softening the skin, it was about slowing down, warming the body, stimulating circulation, and calming the nervous system. It was a form of self-respect, a declaration that your body is worthy of care and attention. Or consider the Japanese tradition of tea, not simply as a beverage, but as a mindful ceremony where even the smallest motions are performed with reverence. That ceremony is itself a beauty practice because it cultivates calm, clarity, and balance. Stress melts away, and the body enters a state of harmony that inevitably shows on the skin. When you look at these practices through a psychological lens, you begin to see how powerful they really are. Modern stress is one of the greatest accelerators of aging. Cortisol, the stress hormone, breaks down collagen, weakens immunity, and leaves the skin dull and reactive. What the ancients discovered, perhaps without naming the hormones and pathways, was that calmness is medicine. A woman who took time each day to massage her skin with oil or steam her face with herbs was not only cleansing her pores, she was reducing her stress. And that reduction became visible in the glow of her complexion, in the softness of her expression, in the grace of her movements. Philosophically, these rituals point to something much deeper. They remind us that beauty is not a destination, but a process. When you treat your skincare as a ritual rather than a chore, you are making a statement about who you are. You are saying that you are not simply a consumer of products. You are a participant in a tradition of self-care that honors the mind, body, and spirit. This subtle shift transforms the meaning of beauty. It is no longer about chasing an outcome. It is about living a practice. And this is where the modern world often struggles. We are obsessed with speed. We want results instantly, transformations overnight. But rituals, by their very nature, ask for slowness. They ask you to breathe, to notice, to participate fully in the moment. In doing so, they awaken something more than skin deep. They awaken presence. And presence is one of the most beautiful qualities a person can radiate. You've seen it before. Someone who may not have conventional perfection, but who seems luminous simply because they are fully at ease in themselves. That is the power of ritual. Let's also recognize that rituals are about continuity. When you repeat a practice day after day, it weaves itself into your identity. It becomes a form of grounding, a reminder that amidst the chaos of life, there is a moment each day reserved for you. Whether it is applying oil, practicing yoga, or drinking tea, the act becomes more than skincare. It becomes self-connection, and that connection fosters resilience, not just in your skin, but in your entire being. From a scientific perspective, the benefits are undeniable. Gentle massage increases circulation, bringing oxygen and nutrients to the skin. Steam opens pores and helps clear impurities. Meditation reduces inflammation throughout the body. When combined, these simple practices become powerful tools for long-term vitality. And importantly, they cost little, they harm nothing, and they align you with natural rhythms. The real challenge for us today is not a lack of knowledge, it is a lack of time. Or, at least that is what we tell ourselves. But perhaps the truth is that we don't prioritize these rituals because we undervalue their power. We've been conditioned to believe that the latest product is more effective than the simplest habit. Yet the ancients remind us that no cream will ever replace the healing power of touch, of breath, of stillness. So here's the invitation. Reframe your beauty practices as rituals. Even if it's 5 minutes at night to cleanse your face with mindfulness, to massage a natural oil with gratitude, or to breathe deeply as you apply your moisturizer. Let those minutes be sacred. Let them be a pause in your day where you honor yourself not for how you look, but for who you are. And then watch how that simple act changes not only your skin, but your relationship with yourself. Because in the end, rituals remind us of something profound. Beauty is not about how you appear when the world is watching. It is about how you treat yourself when no one else is around. And that kind of beauty, born from mindfulness and respect, will always outshine the rest. There is one final truth that ancient beauty practices from Asia and Ayurveda continually emphasize: beauty is inseparable from balance. Not just balance in the skin, but balance in the body, the mind, and even in the environment around us. Modern life is defined by extremes. We push our bodies too hard, we deprive ourselves of rest, we flood our systems with stimulants, then collapse into exhaustion. Our skin, being the body's largest organ and one of its most sensitive mirrors, reflects this imbalance with breakouts, dullness, inflammation, or premature aging. But when you look back at the traditions passed down through generations, you notice that the pursuit of beauty was never about fixing symptoms, it was about cultivating harmony. In Ayurveda, this idea of balance is expressed through the doshas Veda, Pitta, and Kapha. These are not abstract concepts, but ways of understanding tendencies in the body and mind. A Veda imbalance may lead to dry, flaky skin. A Pitta imbalance might show up as redness, irritation, or sensitivity. Kapha imbalance can result in oiliness and congestion. What the ancients were teaching us is that beauty cannot be separated from lifestyle. How you eat, how you sleep, how you manage stress, these choices manifest on your skin. That is why an Ayurvedic physician might ask not just about your complexion, but about your digestion, your emotions, your daily habits. They knew that a cream or a mask could only go so far if the inner terrain was out of sync. The same wisdom can be seen in Chinese traditions. The meridians and organ systems are mapped to specific zones of the face. If someone had persistent acne around the jawline, it might be linked to hormonal or reproductive imbalances. Dark circles under the eyes could signal kidney stress, and a dull complexion might point toward liver stagnation. Whether or not you subscribe fully to these models, there is undeniable wisdom in the principle they highlight. Your skin is not separate from the rest of your being. It is a messenger, often revealing what your inner world cannot articulate. From a psychological standpoint, this is profound. Think about how many women become frustrated with their skin, almost angry at it for not cooperating. Yet what if instead of seeing blemishes or dullness as flaws, you saw them as signals that something inside you, whether it's stress, lack of sleep, poor nutrition, or emotional unrest, is calling out for balance. This shift in perspective transforms skincare from a battle into a dialogue. You stop trying to dominate your skin and instead begin to listen to it. And listening, truly listening, is one of the most compassionate and healing acts we can perform for ourselves. Philosophically, balance is not about perfection, it is about rhythm. The ancients lived by rhythms, the rising and setting of the sun, the cycles of the moon, the turning of the seasons. Beauty rituals were often aligned with these rhythms, whether it was adjusting the diet in summer and winter or using different herbs depending on the time of year. Modern life has largely severed us from these cycles. We eat strawberries in December, stay awake under artificial light until 2 a.m., and scroll through glowing screens at the exact hours when the body was designed to repair. No wonder our systems are confused, and our skin is the first to reveal it. So, what can we learn from these traditions today? We can begin by bringing ourselves back into alignment with natural rhythms. Eating seasonally, sleeping in harmony with the sun and moon, allowing the skin to rest, not just by applying creams, but by reducing overstimulation. Even something as simple as giving yourself one technology-free hour before bed can profoundly change your skin because it profoundly changes your nervous system. Calm nerves mean lower cortisol. Lower cortisol means better collagen production, improved repair, and more radiant skin. This pursuit of balance also extends beyond the individual to the environment. The ancients lived in close connection with nature, and their beauty practices reflected that. Ingredients were fresh, local, and natural. Oils were pressed from nearby seeds. Herbs were picked from local gardens. Water was drawn from streams. There was a direct relationship between person and planet. Today, we are surrounded by synthetic chemicals, polluted air, and overprocessed products. Yet even now, the principle remains the same. Your skin thrives when you are in harmony with your surroundings. Choosing cleaner foods, minimizing exposure to toxins, and surrounding yourself with nature whenever possible are not just lifestyle choices, they are beauty choices. The true beauty revealed in these traditions is not simply external. It is the radiance that emerges when your body, mind, and spirit are aligned, when your habits are in sync with nature, and when you treat your skin as part of a larger ecosystem rather than an isolated surface to be polished. When you live in balance, your beauty becomes effortless because it is not manufactured, it is expressed. And perhaps that is the most powerful secret of all. The ancients knew that beauty is not about chasing an ideal. It is about creating harmony, and harmony creates beauty naturally. Your skin does not need to be forced into radiance. It needs to be supported, listened to, and brought back into balance. When you do that, it will reward you with a glow that no product alone can provide. So I leave you with this reflection when you look in the mirror tomorrow. Don't just ask, "What's wrong with my skin?" Ask instead, "What is my skin trying to tell me?" Because the moment you start listening, you begin the journey back to balance. And balance, as the ancients knew, is the foundation of true, timeless beauty.